Hello and welcome to INE's CCI Service Provider version 5 Learning Path. Today in this video we would talk about infrastructure slicing and network slicing. Now to understand network slicing, you first need to understand the basic terms where you need to understand who does what is your job role and what is the job role of the ISP. So here, an infrastructure slice provider is basically an ISP who is the owner of the infrastructure from where network slices can be created. An infrastructure slice is basically a set of infrastructure which could be a network or a cloud or a data center. Basically, it uses the infrastructure resources, which could be, again, compute, storage, resources, service functions, VNFs, and it's basically used to design the needs of the customer. So if a slice is created where some part of the resources, which could be network or compute, if that is given to a customer, that becomes an infrastructure slice. And infrastructure slicing is basically a management mechanism that infrastructure slice providers can use to allocate dedicated infrastructure resources and service functions to network slice tenants. Now, there are different types of slices or ways that you can actually create that partition to basically allocate a resource to a client. So one could be a physical separation. A physical separation is something which is not desired. You would not want to do a physical separation because, again, it's not cost effective. It's extremely expensive. The second way would be to do underlay or overlay supporting all services equally. Here, the problem is that it's best effort. So it's not fully representing a network slice because you're actually equally sharing between all customers. The third way would be underlay overlay in the form of VPN as an overlay solution. Well, that is, again, not really a true form of network slicing because it's not flexible and not agile. Slicing through a network resource, that's basically giving the customer a dedicated resource and also isolating his traffic from other customers' traffic. It's basically an isolation on top of the same infrastructure. The biggest reason that you would want to do network slicing is because it's not possible or inefficient and expensive to build a separate infrastructure for every service. That's the only reason you would do network slicing, where all the resources, the compute, the storage, the network, they all would be isolated per service for every customer. Now, network slicing has various characteristics or advantages. The first characteristics would be automation of network operation. You don't really manually need to divide the compute or the network of the ISP to allocate to customers. You can automate that process. It also has a dynamic and non-disruptive way of reprovisioning if the client requires the resources again. It has automated lifecycle management. Basically, you can deploy, change, delete as per your needs. It also supports auto scaling and migration. In fact, it also supports auto healing, and it efficiently interplays between management and data planes. The next would be high scalability. It is highly scalable because one infrastructure can be divided into hundreds and thousands of slices. So instead of you dedicating a separate infrastructure for a customer where maybe he is using all your resources and not paying enough, which basically is a pretty big expense for the ISP, what he would do is he would do a network slice where a slice of his compute, his resources, his storage, his networking is assigned to the customer. So many customers use the same infrastructure, and that's called as network slicing. Basically, it allows the ISP to handle millions and millions of customers. It is also highly reliable. Basically, they have redundant mechanisms, high level of isolation, and immediate fault detection. And it's highly cost effective because of various innovative virtualization technologies like SDN and NFV, which is network function virtualization. So you may now think that, okay, a network slice is basically taking a network and dividing that into various smaller subnets. Well, it's not about just subnets. It's about the whole thing coming together. It's about network. It's about resources. It's about compute. It's about management access. It's also about isolation of different customers, but all using the same infrastructure. So let's look at the basic definition of network slice. A network slice is a managed group of subsets of resources, network functions, network virtual functions at the data, control, management, and service planes at any given point of time. Basically, a network slice is programmable. It is also an end-to-end logical network, which is basically running on the cloud. At the same time, it has independent control of management, and it can be created on demand. It is self-contained, basically completely isolated from other customers. You would never have one network slice and of one customer having interaction with another network slice of another customer. Yes, you can still have communication between network slices, which is called as slice stitching. So completely isolated, supports multi-service, supports multi-tenant, and also has prompt service and network deployment. Now, this definition of a network slice or an infrastructure slice, it basically depends from the viewpoint. For example, from a business point of view, a slice includes a combination of all the relevant network resources, functions, and assets that are required to fulfill the business case or service. From an infrastructure point of view, infrastructure slice instances require the partitioning and assignment of set of resources that can be used in isolation, basically disjunctive or also in a non-disjunctive manner for that slice. From a tenant point of view, an infrastructure slice instance provides different capabilities, specifically in terms of management and control capabilities. It also means that how much of the management and control the ISP would hand over to the tenant. There are two types of slices that you can do from a tenant point of view: internal slice or an external slice. An internal slice is basically understood as partitions used for internal service of the provider, retaining full control and management of them. So usually as an ISP, you would never assign an internal slice to a customer. Internal slice is usually just for yourself, which is the ISP. External slice is basically partitions which is given to host customer services, basically appearing as a dedicated network, cloud, or a data center. From a management point of view, infrastructure slices refers to the managed, fully functional, dynamically created partitions of physical or virtual network resources. This function can act as an independent instance of connectivity and also as a network cloud. This resource basically includes connectivity, compute, and storage resources. From a data plane point of view, the infrastructure slice refers to dynamically created partitions of network forwarding devices with guarantees for isolation and security. So basically, a network slice is just taking one infrastructure and dividing that into various parts, all the parts of the infrastructure, which could be compute, network, resources, subnets, or even your data center. Everything is basically divided. One infrastructure is divided into various parts and given to customer as per their needs. I hope this video was informative to you, and thank you for watching.